Where's my dip at?
Where's my dip
Where's
at?
my dip?
Are you gonna get
Dang, man, you
get a sleeve for the next couple
shortest
days?
cord possible.
Are you gonna get a sleeve of dip for the next couple days?
A log. They're called a log.
A log.
Welcome to $2 Steak. I'm your host, Aaron Varnum. Joining me today in a little bit of a different seating arrangement. It's kind of throwing me off a little bit. To my left, we have got Big Mike.
Hey.
In the high spot.
He's in the high spot chair, the chair that
I'm
usually...
in the chair. Not in the mindset. Not in the mindset.
In the chair that Tolbert usually, breaks down things and rolls things up and gets all that thing going. In the middle where Mike usually sits is Chris Tolbert.
Hello, nice and comfy. I'm on the couch here.
He's going to fall asleep and wake up.
He's going to wake up for the high spot, though. He'll wake up for that high spot.
He'll only wake up for the little places.
Oh, holy shit, man. Did you guys see that?
Oh, and I can actually hear him today?
Yeah, the beauty of him sitting on the couch is he has the mic
My
resting
mic's,
on his belly and facing in his chest, or his mouth.
Right on my chest, pointed at my face.
And then finally, as always, running a little late today.
Just a little.
The one and only Cookie.
Esskeetit. Hello, everybody.
What was that?
What?
Is that
Was that like a record
Esskeetit?
scratch?
No, it's an... I'm not going to explain it.
Explain it, please.
Google it.
Eh,
Okay, so there's a rapper. His name's Lil Pump.
I know Lil
How
Pump.
do you
You
spell
know-
it? How do you spell it?
Lil Pump?
No,
L-
S. Whatever you just said.
L-I-L.
P-U-M-P. E-S-K-E-E-T-I-T.
He's a P-U-M-P.
Esskeetit. So instead of saying let's
What does
get
Urban
it,
Dictionary say?
you say Esskeetit.
Urban Dictionary says Lil Punk means let's get it, but in a more lit form, like when lit is going to say Esskeetit, not let's get it.
Let's get it. We're really.
Oh, okay, I get it. So
really
instead of
pumped.
saying let's get it, Esskeetit. I got it. All right, there it is.
All right.
There we go. Well, we have
There's a
learned
lesson
a little
for the
bit.
day.
Thank you for our modern culture rap lesson for the day from Cookie.
Anytime.
Urban Dictionary word of the day.
Anything fun happening this week for you boys, Cookie? We're starting with you with this week. I usually start with Tolbert since he's the left of me. But we'll start with you, Tolbert, or Cookie. What?
Come on,
God, I'm
man.
sorry.
Dude, they
Get
don't
it
look
together.
alike.
Not
They're
at
the
all.
furthest alike that you can get.
He doesn't have hair.
He doesn't.
He's also white, Cookie.
Oh, well, I mean, come on now. They don't need to know that. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, so how was your day? After last week, yeah.
After last week, I've had a pretty boring day. A boring week, I should say. Not too much has been going on.
All right,
with
next
me.
person. Tolbert, what's going on? We are going to
Yeah.
have a big
Oh man, we're on the eve of my
Destruction.
Yeah, the eve of destruction.
Hey, Tolbert, what's the name of the group chat for your bachelor party?
It is Bachelor Deathmatch.
Oh, my God.
All right,
And,
so Cookie, you need to start putting bets down now. Who's going to throw up first?
I'm not going to puke at all.
My money's on some guy I don't even know.
I was
Yeah,
going to say,
yeah.
I think my
One of those
not-
numbers in the
it's
chat
not
that I
on
don't know.
Tolbert.
Yeah.
I
we
think
have
it's gonna
a,
be
we
you,
have a, all
Varnum.
right. So this group, it's lots of different personalities.
Right.
Some that like to party hard, responsibly party hard. A lot others that have a good time but don't partake in as much activities as the others, but still like to hang. And
then
I don't know. It's a good
what's
group
the
of people.
third party?
Well, we're gonna have two dads,
my
three
God.
dads. We're gonna have three dads there.
Okay.
I will not be the first dad to puke.
No, I don't know. You're all professionals.
All right.
And
So
you're all my
it's-
boys.
So it's me being the neurotic one.
You're anxious
Neurotic.
sometimes.
Bring your
neurotic
Xanax.
but fun. Always a joy
You'll
to be
bring
around.
the grounding to the ideas. You'll be like,
Like,
hey, guys, I don't
don't
think that's a good
Yeah,
idea.
I don't think that's a good idea, baby.
How about
Oh,
let's
no.
jump off this
He did
cliff?
it. He did it.
My Eagle Scout comes into play again. I'm going to have to... Somebody get me a rolled up magazine so I can use it as a splint. Mike, are you excited? Mike has been moving up the date and time for us leaving for Asheville by the minute.
Well, so my whole thing is I don't like to travel on my days off. So
Okay.
I'm taking Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off. I do not want to drive on Monday. I want to get there Sunday night. And so we're going to get up there Sunday night, super late. You know, Tolbert and the boys will have already been there.
Tolbert and the boys.
And,
lads.
Dirty.
and the
Dirty
lads.
Mike and the
And
boys.
yeah, so they'll have already kind of partook. I told you, Aaron, that you really want to go fishing. So we will stay sober Sunday night.
Thank
we will
you.
wake up early Monday. We will go wet a line in that Asheville country mountainous water and try to catch us some fish.
I just want to go fishing in the mountains. That's all I wanted to do.
Hey,
You don't want to be
I
there for
don't object,
Tolbert or
dude.
anything else?
I was gonna say I
I'm
think
down
the
for fishing in the
bigger
mountains too,
picture
though,
is
but
right
we'll
over
see.
here with
But
Tolbert.
here's the deal. No, Tolbert is the primary function.
Absolutely.
He's the catalyst for this whole thing.
I am not the drinker of the and I'm not like the partier. So I'm going to be observing a lot of this
Why
stuff.
will you not let loose this week?
He is
His
going to let
prostate-
loose.
I'm going to let loose.
His prostate
my
won't allow-
prostate's fine now.
Okay.
It's just like I don't know. It's been a weird couple months since we started the podcast with anxiety and all that stuff. It has just been. I have been.
And the point of this trip is for everyone just to have a good goddamn
Yeah.
time. I'm just happy,
however
man.
they want to do that.
Right.
Yes.
They will be able
But
to do it.
it's a rare occasion that you get all of your closest friends
Yeah.
and family
That is
together
true.
in one spot when we all live in different cities, man.
Dude,
So
we're
I'm
going
just-
whitewater rafting. I haven't been whitewater rafting in 18
Y'all doing
years.
whitewater rafting too?
You knew that. That was the reason why you didn't want to come.
I'm so excited.
Remember, you're like I
can't
thought we were
swim.
gonna do.
Well, I can't swim.
And also
You
have
can't
a
You
swim.
wear a
No,
life
I can't
vest.
swim.
Yeah, you can
I
float.
know that. Well,
You can't
tell my
swim.
buddy that.
I didn't know that, Cookie.
Yes,
I've seen video of you like jumping off docks and stuff.
You have not seen that.
I thought.
That was not me. That was another male. That was not Cookie.
I don't know, man. You sent us a video or so. I don't know. Whatever. Anyways, I'm sorry about that, Cookie.
But we're gonna have a good time. We're gonna miss you, Cook.
We all look
but,
alike, I get it.
we are gonna have round 2 with all the rugby boys.
I'm down
well,
for that. The rugby bachelor
yeah.
party.
Yeah.
Down
So
for
there's
that.
gonna
You
be
got to
one
set a
in
date
town.
for that, though.
I am.
'cause I have
I
to
am.
pencil that in. I don't know if
Well,
I'll be able to go full rage
I'm gonna
like I
take a
can next week.
consensus, and we'll find out. It'll be more of a weekend thing, like
Hell yeah.
one night cook
3
a
day.
pig,
It's going to be a 3-day thing because I'm going to have to take
I'm thinking
the
about
following
cooking.
day off.
cooking a pig or something. We'll see.
Well, while we're up there, we're gonna talk to T2, which is Tolbert's little brother, the learned one, and we are going to do a little bonus match. We're gonna do a watch along with Tolbert's brother and Tolbert and Mike, and we're
the rest
gonna,
of the crew, whoever's there, I guess.
So what we're doing, and I decided that what makes this show what it is Terry Funk, and we are going to do a match with Terry Funk against Onita in an exploding barbed wire death match that we're going to do a watch along with, and
A live watch along. Meaning I haven't watched it. Tolbert's only watched little bits, and your brother has not watched it.
no,
correct?
I haven't told him. All I've told my brother is that he is going to be on an episode. That's all I told him.
so it's going to be kind of like an abbreviated midweek episode, just to like satiate your love for $2 steak.
Because tell me, the dozens are clamoring.
They are totally clamoring for more wrestling related banter.
And pretty much I had to invite these guys along because Mike gave me those sad puppy dog eyes, and like, I have to go on your bachelor party, man.
I need a bachelor
I
party in
need
my
it.
life.
I need it in my
I
life.
need
it in my life.
He's like, I'll do whatever you want. So we're like, let's do it.
All right. Well, that is what we have in store in the coming future for $2 steak.
What are we going to call the day that the
Brace
watch along
yourselves.
drops? So we have $2 Tuesday for the day that our regular episode drops. What is this the watch along?
Oh God, I'll have to come up with a pun. It's not going to be $2 Thursday. That's lame.
Yeah, when are you gonna? I mean,
Fuck it, listen if you want Friday.
when are you gonna edit the watch along?
We'll take it as it goes, boys. Just keep an eye on the Twitter. Keep an eye on the Instagram, which I've been trying to send Tolbert
sorry.
things this
Sorry.
week, and Tolbert has not posted anything.
Well,
but
I got that
He's
one.
got some important things to do this week.
this was an important week in the history
honestly,
of professional wrestling.
but I've been doing a lot of stuff. Not only I'm going on the bachelor party, right? So I have to, of course, spend time with my lovely, beautiful fiance. Not that I'm ever forced to, but she has her bridesmaids and stuff coming into town. Actually, Mike's wife is throwing
On
her
Father's Day. This is my first Father's Day as a father. My wife has planned to host a bachelorette party at my house,
And
which is
kick him
another
out of the
reason.
house.
Another reason why I want to go to Asheville Sunday night because I'm getting kicked out of my house at 4:00.
I did not plan this well. In fact, my mom texted me the other day. It was like, "So, are we coming there for Father's Day, or y'all coming here?" I'm like, see,
be in
Mom.
Asheville.
Here's the thing. I didn't think
that's
about
both
it.
of the boys too. Both of the children.
Dad's coming in. They're coming in town.
Hey, Dad, I got
Sunday.
more important things to do.
You know, next week they're coming in Sunday. We're gonna go out to dinner, go see some bluegrass at Satellite, hang out. You know.
Very nice.
Yep.
Satellite's a fun little romp on a Sunday night there.
Of course. My dad will love it.
Sunday.
Yes,
I
I mean,
love that.
But
It's
what
fine,
was I
yeah.
saying?
Gets a little
Anyway,
packed, but,
we're going to party. We're going to have a good time.
All right, so we're going to start talking today. June is Pride Month, and with that, we wanted to kind of talk a little bit about the LBGTQA community. And ever since professional wrestling came on the scene, there has always been characters in professional wrestling, and I assigned 3 matches this week to the guys with the gay character archetype, or the LBGTQ archetype, and we're going to kind of just talk about the evolution of how these characters are presented, how these characters are accepted by the audience, just little things like that. But first, we're going to kind of talk about what roles has that community played in the world of professional wrestling beforehand. Starting back in the 40s and 50s, you've got people like Gorgeous George, whose character is a very effeminate man, flamboyant. There's always an era of flamboyance in wrestling, but when you take it to a certain level, and especially that time, that mindset, a lot of people didn't accept it for what it was, and it automatically caused heat.
Exactly.
Boom. He's automatically a heel because of that character.
But when you, at the same time, him wrestling, in the South, that's one of the first wrestlers that anybody brings up. My grandma loved Gorgeous George.
Right.
My mom loved Gorgeous George. That's one of the first names you hear when you start talking about like super, super old school wrestling.
And it's not necessarily a gay character per se.
Yeah.
It is a character that is perceived as gay.
But even in that time, you don't have to say, "Oh, I'm a gay character." You could just wear a fancy robe and have your hair long and strut, and they're like, "Oh man, look at this guy over here, man."
Yeah, exactly. And there will always be that sort of thing. And fast forward a few years, and we're going to talk about him in a little bit. Adrian Street kind of comes out in the height of glam rock, the David Bowie era, the
Queen era.
The Queen era, and he takes it to like a different level. It's more flashy. It's more exciting. He open mouth kisses people. He'll like, and that character, not openly gay, but the audience perceives it.
That's what they're seeing on TV. That's what they're seeing week after week, or wherever he's traveling to.
The Exoticos, we've talked about them before.
Which recently I just found out was a thing. I was watching. There's like a luchador, some documentaries floating around, stuff like that.
There's a Vice one on.
Yeah, but I never realized that was a thing until I think it was the Vice one I was actually watching, where the whole exotic. I was like, I had no idea, and it's huge over there. People love it, man.
And it's giving a voice to a sect of culture that usually you would think would be ignored in professional wrestling. Like, think of yourself as a young LBGTQ person, and you are sitting there, you have nobody to really identify with, and then one of your characters, Darren Young, comes out. Darren Young makes... It was a huge deal in the world of professional wrestling to have your first openly gay person in professional wrestling. With that, Pat Patterson, who it was kind of a veiled secret in the world of professional wrestling, comes out. And you start seeing this cultural shift. It's becoming more acceptable these days to have these characters there. It's not like the late 90s, early 2000s when Billy and Chuck got married, and that you were thinking that it was going to be kind of a milestone, that maybe WWE is maturing a little bit when it comes to handling a character with complexities like that. But instead,
you get career suicide.
You get career suicide with those guys, but then it was a whole bait and switch the whole time. They do the marriage thing, and it was a sham the whole time.
The entire time. So it was just a waste of time, essentially, is what...
Right. It was a waste of time. And they were getting mainstream coverage from it.
Yeah.
And you're thinking there's a cultural shift in America at that time. Ellen DeGeneres is coming out live on her television show. There's characters that are not just one-note characters. They're not just that gay stereotype character in the world of popular culture. And you're thinking that maybe WWE, which is sometimes seen as a kind of a mirror into the world of professional or into the world of popular culture, you're seeing that and you're thinking maybe WWE is going to take that chance. Maybe WWE is going to have that maturity, and they didn't.
No.
And they
old
didn't.
Vince being Vince.
You've got Goldust. Goldust definitely playing on the gay panic of that era, and Orlando Jordan. Jordan when he was a character.
Gosh, that TNA career that he had was just
It was awful.
Horrible. Oh, it was so horrible.
And
what they did to him.
You're seeing straight old white men trying to write these characters that need more complex things than he wears feminine clothing and a wig
Yeah.
sort of thing.
Yeah. It's a mascara. They call it.
But as this time has gone on, things have changed. And it's good. You're getting independent wrestlers out there that are loud and proud, and they're ready to be that hero for that underserved era of kids coming out today. You've got people like, what's her name?
Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville.
I like Sonya Deville.
Sonya Deville. Total badass in the ring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
They barely allude to her character, but you know it's there. This week on WWE.
She does subtle things.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
but that's kind of what I think. So, I mean, I have no reference to anything that you've already discussed, like in terms of past characters and all that sort of stuff. Where WWE kind of screwed it up before, I think they're actually doing it really well now. Where it's because, I mean, I am clearly heterosexual. I don't know anything. I've never experienced those kind of feelings in that. But you know, maybe the people who kind of relate to that don't want a flamboyant character because maybe they are a badass and they just happen to be gay. So I think they're doing it well now where it's more just like, oh yeah, that character's gay, but it's not, or no, that wrestler's gay. It's not even their character. It's not a foundational baseline to who they are as a wrestler. It just kind of is what it is, which is kind of, I would hope with, you know, I mean, I think that's kind of heading in the right direction.
Right.
And going back to Darren Young, I wanted Darren Young to. I liked what they did with this character before I think he left the WWE.
Yeah, he was released. Yeah,
before he was released, I like what they did. They didn't make it they didn't push it in your face. They didn't make it known. They kind of just made him seem like a badass to make Darren Young great again. It was a pretty cool gimmick. They brought Bob Backlund. They brought Bob Backlund back. They could have gone somewhere with that, I think. But at the end, I guess the character didn't work out.
Well, my thing too is like, and it's not that, you know, WWE or whatever promotion needs to bury it behind and not let them be that person. But it's like, if the person or the wrestler wants to express that, like a Sonny Deville, Sonny Kiss.
Sonny Kiss. Yeah.
So he wants to be that guy who's out there. Let him.
Yeah. Okay.
And you know, Sonya Deville wants to be the badass.
Going to let him.
Yeah. And it's like, and if Sonya Deville just wants to be kind of just in the back burner, and it's like, oh yeah, she's gay. Okay, let her do that too. And I kind of like that.
We're also
that's where we're at now.
Yeah, exactly. We're in a much different time. But this has been going on since the beginning of wrestling, right?
Yeah.
And it seemed like towards the beginning, even in a time where it wasn't widely accepted outside of wrestling, it was sort of accepted. I mean, I can't speak to that 100%. I mean, I'm sure some places were better than others. But within the wrestling brotherhood, it was somewhat accepted as long as you're a good worker and a good wrestler. I think is that what that article
said? It essentially says that. And I'm about to quote something from this article. It's on ProWrestlingStories.com, and it's written by Krista Paglier. I think that's how she says her name. I probably did. But her last paragraph is very important, and I think it's a really good idea of what this world is today. And she says, for today's knowledgeable, media-savvy audience, the status quo is not enough. In an era where the media landscape is dotted with dynamic anti-heroes, conflicted villains, and reprehensible do-gooders, the old heel versus face can't always be the way things are booked. Yeah. We can no longer simply hate a foreign heel or a gay character on sight. We need a reason. And maybe that's not a bad thing. The grand mythological arcs of wrestling booking will always remain, but ideally in good modern booking, how the characters are positioned and the behavior will define them, not their LGBTQ status.
I love that.
Because that's how it used to be, though. It's like they got heat because they were gay.
Yeah, no. You're gonna shit on somebody because they're a shitty person. Who cares if they're gay? Who cares if they're Italian or Polak or whatever? If you're a bad person, you're a bad person. I don't care if you're white or black or whatever. Like, if you're a dick, you're a dick.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly. Like the Goldust gimmick, I don't think will get over this day and age, because originally he got heat.
And we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
And it's funny because they even evolved his character.
They did.
You know, he started off as the weird one.
Sort of
the bizarre one.
At the end, it was just like so goofy. And
right, but they had to. They were getting
funny.
that. Yeah, it was.
Funny.
It was getting that kind of backlash.
Yeah.
So,
and rightfully so.
Him and Booker
probably.
T, man.
Him and Booker T was him getting electrocuted and stuttering. Yeah. Great stuff, but.
So while talking about Goldust, our first match of the evening, and this is for Big Mike the Greenhorn. Big Mike, you actually get the height of the Goldust era. You have a match of Goldust versus Savio Vega.
Mike, can you do a deep inhale?
Dude, this was the era when my brother and I would be in the living room and Goldust music would hit, and we were just like, oh man, and we were just like, dude, we just look at each other and like look back at the screen and
Like, are we allowed to enjoy this?
yeah, you're like, you would just hope your dad wasn't about to walk in and Goldust.
What do you boys watch?
What do y'all watch?
Yeah.
What do you watch?
What's all that on his
That's
face?
Dusty Rhodes' son. My God, what?
What happened to him?
What happened to wrestling?
That's the natural.
Where did this family go? Anyway. All right, so we'll start into actually, this is also my first Goldust match.
Yeah.
I feel like I saw him like run in at like a Royal Rumble or something.
Well, technically you've seen a couple Dustin Rhodes matches.
Yeah, but not a Goldust.
But not a Goldust match.
Right. So my initial reactions, for some reason, in the clip we got, Vega's already in the ring. So, bigger guy, red, white, and blue leather vest, Texas flag on the back.
Yeah, he's Puerto Rican.
Puerto Rican? Texas, Puerto Rico.
That's close to Texas.
Close enough.
Yeah, close.
It's got a single star, man. I
Depends
don't
on
know.
where you are in Texas, but
Honestly, I'm not well learned. So,
T2, where you at?
stick to science, sports medicine.
yeah. So Goldust, a.k.a. Dustin, pretty big back then.
He's a big dude.
Yeah, versus
And this
nowadays.
was before the fat Goldust
Yeah,
era.
Well, and I've seen photos of that guy, and so he's big. He's a big old boy. He's got gold paint, long leather or long blonde wig, huge floor length robe, glitters dropping from the sky as he's walking down.
It was always left over after the match.
Yeah.
Well,
and that's where
always.
I forget which match it was, but one of our previous matches they had made reference to.
It was
the
Mankind,
glitter.
Shawn Michaels.
Okay, yeah, the glitter that had already been left.
Yeah.
I forgot about it.
And then his valet comes down and she's smoking. I have smoking in quotes.
She's so goddamn.
Wait, what was that?
At the time,
goddamn hot. She's so fucking hot.
I didn't know.
Dude, at the time,
Terry
though,
Reynolds
when
was
you're-
pretty hot back
You're a
then.
kid,
back in
that's
the day.
why.
Or
when you were a kid,
Marlena,
maybe.
whatever
Yeah.
her name was.
Man, I don't know.
Really?
That's
I
why you
didn't
didn't
find
leave
her
the room.
attractive.
That's what kept you watching when Gold
was Marlena.
So she's quote unquote smoking a cigar.
And I think this was during the time of Bill Clinton and the whole Monica Lewinsky thing. And I think
96. So yeah, this is April 15th, tax day, 1996. In case you cared.
we did.
Never mind.
Anyway, all right, we get to the match. Earl Hebner refereeing. It's because this is an Intercontinental title match on Raw, and Vince is on the mic because it's 96. So Goldust starts by getting in Vega's face and just licking his chops, just like, and clearly he's trying to portray this. I don't know his character, which again I don't really know much about. I knew of him when I was a kid. Still having not watched any wrestling, and then I kind of had enough idea of what was going to be happening in this match. So
Put yourself in the shoes of a young Aaron Varnum in Wilmington, North Carolina, seeing this and just being like, what?
I get to that later.
Yeah, imagine being 11,
but
sitting there watching that.
Throughout this whole match, and even now, it's currently I pride myself in being pretty open-minded and really not caring who you are. I judge you on your character, not your aspects or whatever. And I'm just watching. I'm like, man, that's a little weird. And then I'm also going, man, I wonder what people in the '90s thought of this.
Yeah, dude, exactly.
You don't understand the amount of heat.
And that's where it's a very contrarian kind of thing, where you got this big kind of burly dude, and you got this other guy who's even bigger, who's just like, I'm gonna eat you, and just licking his lips. It was kind of weird.
Well, you even had wrestlers who didn't even want to be associated with wrestling Goldust. No. Razor Ramon refused.
He strikes me as the type that would not enjoy that.
Hey,
Razor Ramon.
What was that ad? It's an event with Razor coming.
Your titty bar.
It was KY sponsored oil wrestling.
Yeah.
I think it's in Jacksonville.
Thank God for Razor Ramon.
And then Razor Ramon's right there on the flyer, like, hey, yo, come down and watch these girls wrestle.
Like Razor Ramon, man, like he did not want to wrestle Goldust. He did, and he knows Dustin as a person. But he didn't want to be associated with it.
Yeah, that didn't. He's got this big, huge, macho, kind of curly hair, flick the toothpick, kind of like burly dude attitude. And, like, why would he want to be? Especially if he doesn't want a job to Goldust,
right?
No. But
hey, that being said, how was Dusty in the locker room back then with that character going on?
I'm
was
sure
there anything
he was
going on backstage.
I don't think so.
He strikes me as a wrestler's wrestler.
Dustin is a guy who grew up in the business, and I think that he, growing up in the business, you know what to do in the locker room, what not to do in the locker room, and I think that he was just one of those guys. He embraced it. He did really well with it, even if it wasn't the most PC thing now.
Well, I think he did really well with it, probably too, because it's like so contrary to what he was. I mean, he's a Texas kid.
We saw a Dustin Reynolds match, or Dustin Rhodes match, The Natural, compared to that.
So he's a Texas born and raised son of a Dusty Rhodes kind of guy, and it's like complete 180. So I think that also was probably why the character himself worked.
Yeah,
he did an interview with Stone Cold, and they have a podcast today. Well, Stone Cold does, and he hated the gimmick at first until he saw how much heat it drew, and once he realized how much heat it drew, he was just like, I know how I can do this.
Yeah, and
he just kept pushing the boundary, kept doing it, pushing it until he became a legend.
Yeah,
is where he is right now.
So and almost it was like a fuck you to the Dusty Rhodes character.
It was absolutely,
and it was a way to say that this isn't the same person that my dad was. This was something to kind of set him apart.
Completely different.
I mean, I really do. I appreciated it, and I kind of liked it right at the start. Goldust. So they finally tie up, and somehow Goldust gets behind him, and he starts. I called it frisking, but he's kind of sultrily feeling him up and down. And again, me, 2019. I can just feel the cringe of the 90s fan who's sitting at home on Monday night just going, oh, God,
that ain't right.
You're going to let him do that to you? Like, I don't want to say it's funny, but it's just, I can tell where they clearly weren't in a place where most Americans are now.
Right.
So, I don't know. I got a chuckle out of that, just thinking back to it. So, let's get to the actual match. Decent. It's called chain wrestling, right?
Yeah.
Where they're switching holds and stuff. So it's a good little chain wrestling to start. Awkwardly enough, they zoom in several times on Goldust's ass, and Dustin doesn't have a great butt, man.
Does not have a good butt.
It's not shapely or anything. It's not fully flat, but it's definitely not like anything to zoom in on multiple times.
You skipped
that latex suit doesn't do any favors for it.
It's kind of like Hank Hill-esque.
Yeah, I didn't make the note, but you actually just reminded me of it. Part of me wants the suit to be tighter, and then part of me wants the suit to be looser. So,
which parts, Mike?
Yeah, well, no, just because several times it's just real saggy and just like really kind of just ill-fitting, and other times you want it to be the Green Man suit where it just kind of snugs, but then you don't want it to be the Green Man suit. I don't know. I just visually that brought that thought back to my mind.
I've heard stories where he was saying that that's like the hottest thing he ever would have
cannot
on.
imagine.
Believe
Probably
that.
That was
sweating his ass
another
off,
comment I was
dude.
going to make. Is just you're a grown man. How big is he? 6'5", 6'6"?
Something like
I
that.
mean, like,
Something
He's
like
bigger.
least.
He's bigger than I am. So he's 6'5", 6'6". He's probably 270, 280 pounds, wearing a
Black
non-breathable spandex suit.
No, not at
Your
all.
face
And
fully
your-
painted.
And your face is covered in and not breathable paint either. It's like a latex paint.
Yeah.
It's like Goldfinger, like that girl. Like there's always that story that girl died from like spraying too much.
Like, can you
paint on her?
imagine? Can you imagine the puddle of sweat that was in his boots by the end of each
Oh,
match?
It's
No,
disgusting.
Probably disgusting, yeah.
Anyway,
Gives a gold water pours out.
the guys backstage are probably taking bets on how much is going to come out just based on the match he had. So about 5 minutes in, Vegas starts getting really good offense. Huge body check. Is that a body check or what? I don't know what would you call that?
like a shoulder-
throw it off
shoulder.
throw him off the ropes. Yeah, shoulder him into him. He gets Goldust into the corner and starts spanking him. Vega's going to show that naughty boy what was up. And fast forward some more. Goldust gets some moves in, slides. I don't know how to describe when he's just like kind of like thrusting on the
slithers.
ground. He
He
slithers
slithers.
around, just like touching his thighs and he's rubbing his chest. And again, I put myself back into that. How did and you guys were kids when this is happening,
Right.
How did adults? How did that 37-year-old man?
Well, you heard it.
feel?
You hear it in the booze when he walks out.
And
that
so,
heat.
so the very, very next thing I have is at one point, middle of the match, title match, calls for a mic, gets the mic, and he says, "If y'all don't stop booing me, I'm going to come out and kiss each and every one of you." And and again, and so this is, and I don't want to call it homophobic heat, but
It's queer baiting.
exactly,
yeah.
exactly. He's playing.
He's playing into it.
And rose-colored glasses, or 20 years later, just I didn't know how to feel about that, and can't change it or anything, but it's just interesting that like people are going to get heat from that. Like if somebody said, "I'm going to come out and kiss you," nowadays, I'd be like, "Okay." Like,
Cool.
All right, man. I'm not scared of that. I don't know.
I play rugby, man.
Yeah, exactly.
It's there's a lot of man love in rugby.
Yeah,
So
like,
we're all very comfortable.
For fun, I stick my head up two dudes' asses. Like
James
Every
Hall
Saturday.
has literally tried to kiss me at a bar multiple times.
I've been kissed by so many of my teammates.
and again, you take it to like an American stereotype. Like I was talking to my friend, and he's like, he went overseas and for a wedding, and he's like, I forgot how like naked my friends get. And, like European males, like you're not getting that kind of heat in Europe, even in the '90s. So it was super. I laughed and I wasn't trying to feel, but
part two.
obviously it got some heat there. Matt Davenport, our friend from last week, just showed up with a 12-pack.
A land
nowhere.
shark is back.
He must not have hated the podcast.
It was like he came in like the Undertaker, man. We didn't know where he came from.
My God, that's
My God, that's Davenport's music.
Anyway, so there's a little funny point in the match. Vegas gets on the ground. Goldust goes for what I would call a old-fashioned teabag.
Oh yeah.
He goes for the old-fashioned teabag, and Vega rolls him up, gets a count, doesn't pin him. Here we go. Eventually, we get to the end. Goldust throws Vega off the rope, hits Earl Hebner, who was the ref, hits the ref.
Horse piss back there.
By the way,
Tolbert in the back. God damn, Tolbert.
It's distractingly loud.
Tolbert went to go pee during this this talking to Port, and we can hear him peeing from like.
And anyway, so Goldust valet goes grabs the IC belt. So obviously Goldust could use it in interference or whatever to get Vega out. Vega counters, hits him. Sorry, Tolbert is really making a lot of noise.
It's like the Austin Powers piss. He just doesn't stop.
Kind of concerned for him, and so Vega counters, hits Goldust with the belt. Ref counts it out, and by the way, so at this point the ref is out. Goldust has the belt. Another ref comes running in, and they're kind of like going. The one ref's trying to wake the other one up, and so eventually Earl Hebner wakes up, counts Goldust out. Vega pinned him. Controversy ensues. Some dude comes out, and they're like bickering back and forth. It's 3 minutes of the 16-minute video. Anyway, what happens is they say that Goldust is stripped of his IC title, but Vega does not win the title, and they will have a match the next Monday. Hey, get you back, folks.
That's what they do, man. They do it just as bad this week. Now.
Yeah. So to get to my final thoughts that we haven't talked about already, dude, Dustin moves very well for a huge dude.
He's always done that. He's a very smooth.
What is it called? A back body drop or something like that, where Vega tosses him over his head,
That's what
and
it
Dustin
is.
comes down, flat back bumps.
Yep.
Awesome, visually great, especially when the dude's painted in gold. Like it was very cool to look at. I don't know if I put different styles. I don't know if it was different styles. It was interesting. So Dustin played that character very well, and you can tell he's kind of this like, suave's not even the right word either, but it's just, I don't know, he's Goldust, right? So versus Vega, who seemed very much to be just a wrestler's wrestler and just kind of wanted to get out there and do it. And again, final thought: what would '90s people think? And I wish I could get into the mind of a wrestling fan from the '90s watching even just that match, let alone any Goldust thing, because
Well, like back
it was so odd.
So back then, I mean,
And Tolbert just tried to swallow the mic.
chip my other tooth. You would watch it and be creeped out, but the matches would be so entertaining, and the wrestling, well, for the most part, the wrestling would be good most of the time, or almost all the time. Dustin's matches were always entertaining and awesome, and that's why you'd just be sucked into it. You're like, man, I feel all weird. And
I don't know how to feel about this Goldust guy.
Should I take notes? Should I? But it was an entertaining matches, really entertaining storylines.
For me, my first experiences were with Goldust was the artist formerly known as Goldust.
Oh God, that's even worse.
Exactly.
He'd
where
come
he
out
had
with the
his-
S&M stuff.
The S&M stuff, like it had the collar, the collars around the neck. He would have all green. He would have like the brassiere that would go out like 4 feet or 5 feet, like Madonna style, and he would have his head like dyed red. It was a very weird look for him, and he would come out with Luna Vachon, and it was, I don't know, it was just like one of the strangest things. So for me, Goldust originally was like a strange character that I just never touched, and then I grew to love him, 10 years later when he was doing the stuff with Booker T, and then I realized how much of an athlete he was, and I was like, man, he's actually a really cool groundbreaking character.
Well, and I know we were kind of doing this because Pride Month or whatever, and we got a little feedback on Twitter that Goldust wasn't an openly gay character, or not even. He was androgynous.
He was a sexual deviant.
Yeah, and
was
that's
his
where.
character.
But that might have been what they said. But the way he portrayed it,
but
the way it was kind of like fed to the audience, and that sort of thing. It was definitely. He was definitely supposed to be perceived as gay.
I mean, when we went to school, when we're talking wrestling, man, the kids were like, man, Goldust, man, he's gay, man. Like, you know what I mean? That's how it was.
And I think that's what
perceived.
they. So yeah, so on the superficial level, they were trying to say no, he's this kind of guy, but that dude with a dip in watching it while drinking his Budweiser definitely.
I mean, he comes out
called that guy gay.
He comes out in a blonde wig, painted gold, in a bodysuit, in his fancy clothes, and flicking his long lizard tongue at everybody.
Well,
He's got such a long tongue.
It was the 90s, but even then, you're not going to be able to get away with calling. Like, GLAD was still a thing back then, and if they were to say this gay character is this evil thing, WWE were too smart for that. They were trying to kind of tiptoe around it.
And he had the escort as well, and he would do stuff with
valet.
her.
She was a valet.
Escort.
You know what? She did look like an escort.
Yeah.
Valet, excuse me. Valet.
So, Mike, with your first experience of Goldust, let's talk about the social media of the week.
Social media update of the week. All right, so in case you guys didn't listen to episode 12, we are at an official through a table match between Tolbert and I on social media. Twitter, we are at 63 followers.
So we've lost followers.
Yeah, we'll get into that. IG 52. Fuck you, Tolbert.
I'm gaining on him slowly.
So
yes,
all right.
Trolling hard.
3 years later, we're finally going to have this table thing.
Yeah, so we've lost followers, but so if you look at the number, it looks bad. But when you look at the fact that when Aaron tweeted out that we were doing a Pride Month edition of our podcast, we lost 5 Twitter followers.
That's unbelievable.
Dude, and I'm like, what?
Shouldn't it be going the opposite
And you know
way?
what? They were probably watching wrestling in the 90s, never moved out of their hometown.
Yeah, they probably live with their
And
mom.
they still hate Goldust.
They're clearly
And they, for
offended.
years, they've wondered why wrestling makes them feel funny inside.
Well, they're the typical, oh, why are you always offended? And then you tweet out that as a podcast we're doing Pride Month. We're like, I'm offended. And so, we lost 5 followers.
I'm perfectly fine with it.
You know what?
Oh, yeah.
Fuck them.
I was going to say.
I loved it, actually. So I went on a Twitter trolling rampage.
Thank God.
Particularly Thursday night.
Mike really doesn't want to go through that table.
No. So
Who's going to get him up to go through the table?
I will, man.
We're going to have to do a shield thing.
I was going to say, we're going to do a shield powerbomb through that table.
Long story short, I fucked my back up at the gym on Thursday. So I was just laying on my living room floor watching the U.S. Open on Thursday night and just trolling Twitter and tagging everything. Managed to get 2 followers out of it. So, that's why we're at the 63. My favorite, and this might not be anybody's favorite, but I was trying to do an ode to MJF. And one of our local news stations had tweeted out that, they're delayed on this development project because the land that they're building on used to be the river, right? And so I tweeted out a very classic cheat me tweet, and I said something along the lines of, I'm no archaeologist, but maybe we shouldn't be building on what used to be the river. And it was an ode to MJF's I'm no horse professor. I forgot archaeologist professor, so I feel like it didn't go over as well as it could have. But you know what? They're the local station, I think it was WCT, their Twitter's terrible, and I still managed to get 32 impressions and a like and a mention.
Ooh.
How about that?
Hey, get that.
I also like your new technique. What you're telling me, your new technique is,
is it?
hey, this isn't wrestling.
Oh, yeah. So I actually didn't have any of those coming up in the best or the worst, but I'll mention it. So I started tweeting out, if I see any good link, ESPN, Adam Schefter, whatever it might be, I just tweet out, this isn't wrestling, and then I just tweet, I send our link or a picture of Foley giving the mandible claw to whoever, and it actually works. We tend to get pretty good impressions off those and some engagements.
Oh, I feel like we're not the traditional internet wrestling community of like, you got to be funny. Like we try to at least be funny about our tweeting. We know that this is a low rent podcast.
Well, so Stephen Colbert tweeted out something that was it was political in nature, and we probably have varying political ideologies on our followers, so I don't want to offend anybody, God forbid. And so I just tweeted out, this isn't wrestling. Hashtag cheat me tweet, and it really works. So overall, actually, most of our tweets are getting 200 to 500 impressions.
That's good.
And several engagements. And this is where I'm going to put out a call.
Right?
I'm going to put out a call to our listeners. If you've been one of the listeners that has happened to follow us on Twitter, and I know some of you haven't, and but if you are one of the ones that has followed us on Twitter, please don't retweet. Okay, this is our best Twitter week in terms of likes. Ain't nobody retweeting us.
Are you shooting on our only
followers?
Twitter followers?
I'm not shooting on anybody. I'm asking. This is a call.
Listen, Travis Thornton, with your awesome ass art.
All I need is some retweets because not everybody that follows us follows you, and vice versa. So if you could go ahead and just retweet what you enjoy, please. I'm looking at you, Matt Davenport. You don't retweet us at all.
Yeah, he does.
He's too busy saving lives and what else do firefighters do? Whatever they do.
Yeah. Anyway, so back to the best of the worst of the week. Best of the week, pretty close tie. So after Aaron apparently offended several of our Twitter followers, God damn it, and after he offended some of our Twitter followers, I posted a picture of Dusty Rhodes, and I said something along the lines of, "We've had a great week," because we have. This has been our most engaging week in Twitter's history for $2 steak, and but we managed to offend 5 followers, and they left. And it was a picture of Dusty Rhodes, and just like the clown picture, it was perfectly edited, right? So you look at it on a superficial level, it's a picture of Dusty Rhodes giving a thumbs up.
Yep.
You click on it, his nuts are hanging out.
Oh, ball sack. That's a whole ball sack hanging out of
And
those
guess
shorts.
what? Hasn't gotten flagged.
Because everyone loves Dusty.
God bless Dusty Rhodes.
Even the people at Twitter.
The other best one was I think it was Wednesday. I was just like tweeting from my couch, and apparently I got way too official in how I was like posting and presenting and all this sort of stuff. And Twitter flagged me and like blocked me for a little bit. And they're like, "We think you're a computer. I need you to do this CAPTCHA." And I'm like, "What?" So I take a screenshot of it and I said, apparently they think we're a computer, but would computers be this bad at Twitter? And
They would not be.
Both of those got around like 250 impressions, and both got about 20 engagement or 250 engagements, 20 impressions.
Gotcha.
So, worst of the week. I had a really good tweet back at Kenny Omega. He said he bumped into a couple people from Japan or whatever, and I said, "We're sure you sold those bumps well." 500 impressions, no engagements. Not a single fucking wrestling fan even clicked on our goddamn profile picture. Are you kidding me?
Wow.
Fuck you, wrestling fan. No, I'm just kidding.
But for real, though.
For real. Anyway, that's the social media update. Please follow us on Twitter at #2 $steak_. Do not follow us on Instagram.
I was going to say, it happens to be the same Instagram handle.
Please, if you follow us on Twitter, I'll get to put Tolbert through a table. If you follow us on Instagram and non-Twitter, I have no idea how these guys will get me through a table.
We're going off the deck, off the railing, right? Through the table. We're going high spot all the way, man. I'm going Joey Janela style. I'm lighting a blunt and putting you through a table off your back deck.
Holy shit.
Bring it.
It's going to be sick.
Strong style of the evening. We have got the Golden Lovers against Tomohiro Ishii and Will Ospreay.
Let's get it.
Let's get it.
Are you going to use that again, Cookie?
Let's get it.
Do I need to Urban Dictionary that for Davenport, or should we make him watch?
No,
listen
he'll
to
have
the
to-
podcast?
No, we'll make him Google it.
right.
He'll
You'll have
figure
to
it out
listen this week,
eventually.
yeah.
Anyway, coming to you from a locally packed high school gymnasium, you have the Golden Lovers, Kenny Omega and not Kenny Omega, versus...
Kota Ibushi. It was Kota
Ibushi,
Ibushi.
man. He's a big name.
Ibushi.
Okay, well, I think it's
He
not
was the
funny.
one that almost broke his neck 2 weeks ago to Dominion in that crazy.
Oh, and he
He's
dropped...
got, like-
that was him that got
That
dropped
was
on his neck on the
his!
apron?
Yes!
Oh,
Research, Cookie.
my God.
Oh my god.
Can I still say not Kenny Omega? Because I
Yeah.
think it's
Go
kind
ahead.
of funny.
But
Okay.
he's also 0% body fat.
He is. Dude. He's
ripped.
Yo,
False.
Dude.
I don't know
The
who's...
human body has to have at least 3%
Not
body fat, otherwise
literally.
you would die.
He's probably 3.
Oh my god. Anyways, let's hear about the Golden Lovers.
I think Ibushi and my guy Ospreay are two of the greatest athletes in this match. I'm gonna just start off with saying that.
Why is that?
You'll see.
All right.
You'll see.
Which one was the bigger one? Ospreay?
That's Ishii. Ishii,
Ishii's the bigger
who
one.
is
yeah.
just a fucking pit bull.
He is a pit bull. He's Fat Kurt Angle. That's what I call him. Fat Kurt Angle. Because his body. Oh my god. I got some stuff to say about him, but I'll get to that a little bit later. So I start off by saying neither team really looks like a proper tag team. They don't have like matching gear or anything like that. They come out to. I think they do come out. They come out together, but they don't really look like a proper tag team. But oh my god, some of the best tag team wrestling. Disclaimer right now: go ahead and watch this match.
I can already feel
It is-
what rating this is going to be.
Yeah, absolutely. So,
I think they even mentioned Prince Devitt.
Yeah.
One
Oh,
year in the
that was
match.
probably like, ooh.
For that reason.
Wait, do you know Japanese now?
Maybe it was another match I was watching.
I was gonna say,
watching
I
a
think
lot
that
of
whole
Kenny
match was
Omega stuff
Japanese.
this week. I watched it. Anyway, go on, Cookie. Sorry.
So Pitbull or Fat Kurt Angle, however you want to call him. Ishii. Ishii, I think, is about 2 donuts away from trying out for sumo wrestling because he's a big boy.
He's short, though.
He is short. He's short. He's a stocky little motherfucker.
He
But
ain't that big, man.
you don't think he was
I'm
that
watching
big?
it right now. He ain't that big.
He could be like a. He could be like
Look,
a.
Cookie, if he's fat, I'm really fat.
if he's fat, yeah,
he could be a hooker for us.
Okay,
he's
that
wearing a weight belt.
I was about to say that weight belt is covering
It's
up a lot of
holding
that.
it in.
Yeah,
All
it's
right, I'll
holding
give
it
you
in.
that. It's holding it
That's
in.
what I said.
he's a mean looking motherfucker though. I wouldn't say it to his face.
I was
fuck
about to
with
say,
that guy.
yeah, exactly. So not
Ishii?
Ishii. No. Who's not Kenny Omega?
Ibushi.
Ibushi. Okay, so Ibushi. So I got this match starting off with Ibushi hitting a pretty sweet snap hurricanrana, which kickstarts some chain wrestling, and they demonstrate a lot of agility, a lot of kip ups, and it sets the tone for the match that this is going to be a pretty athletic match. But once Ospreay and Ibushi get out of the ring, it becomes just a straight brawling match, which I like. So it was a good mix of the styles, brawling with Omega and Ishii, and you had the really agile and really fast paced wrestling with Ospreay and Ibushi. Correct?
Oh my! You were completely on point.
All right, there we go. Good. So that's how we're gonna start this off then. So when the big boys come in, they start duking it out. Ishii, I think, is just like Sandman because he must be on meth or crack because he just no-sells 3 boots to the face. Just, like that's how he just starts that match. 3 kicks straight to his dome, and he's just sitting there like, "Come on, bring it! I can take some more." And it sets the tone for the match. Such a great match. But I digress. Aaron, I got a question for you.
Yes,
so
sir.
with Japanese tag team wrestling, interference isn't a big issue.
I think
it
they're
doesn't seem like it is.
You remember in the AEW thing, like where it's almost for the ref's discretion. I think it's more like that in New Japan.
Okay.
I get confused nowadays about interference with tag team. I had that question 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Well, with the WWE, it's more of like you got a 5 to 10 count to get out of the ring if you're going to interfere. And with this match, it was more of
It's a
just
discretion
it is.
thing.
It is.
Yeah,
it
it is what it
is. You know, just interfere, but get out eventually. I guess is what it was. But so one of the first pretty cool sequences I got was a nice sequence of moves between Omega and Ibushi, or between Omega and Ibushi, where they do. It's like a sequence of double leapfrogs that turn into a roundhouse kick. Kenny Omega follows it up with a leapfrog into a bulldog. So he leapfrogs Ishii and then turns it into a bulldog. And I know this is a bulldog for who was it that didn't know what
I don't know what
Like,
a bulldog is.
God, come
Well, you
on.
do
Face
now.
track.
Now
It
you
was
know.
a forward face track, man.
Frog bulldog. One of the coolest things I've ever seen. Never seen that before. And then Ishii and Ospreay show a little chemistry with an offensive sequence of their own that ends with what I like to call a step stool corkscrew moonsault.
God damn, that made me
cool,
stand
man.
up. I was like, oh,
Yeah, because I again never seen something
Great
like
teamwork.
that. I have a note. Pretty fucking sick move, man. You don't see that stuff.
It's a great note. I love the way you said that. That was awesome.
Thanks, man.
He's also a very short table. Like
Yeah.
it's like a coffee table, you know.
You should need a bump. Just a little boop.
So, all right. So Kenny and Sumo Boy, aka Ishii, trade some serious chops and blows. You can tell that they really are just going at it back and forth with each other, and it looks like maybe it's setting up a rivalry in the future. I'm not sure. I was going to ask you about it. I don't know if you know, Aaron.
I'm not sure. I was not. Man,
It looked like they had some heat between each other. Like
they might have done some stuff earlier, and this might have been kind of like, you know, kind of harkening back to that.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Well, another thing that I noticed about halfway through the match is that instead of the regular turnbuckle style, they have like the boxing style. One is that a normal Japanese?
Yeah,
thing?
New Japan does that a lot. AEW is doing it. They did it a little bit recently as well. So it makes it more of a look like a legitimate sport.
Exactly. That's why I have a note about that. I was like, it makes it look a little bit more legitimate. But going forward, the crowd is definitely behind Ishii. It looks like Ishii and Ospreay. And Ospreay has some fucking bunnies. Let me tell you, that man can jump through the.
He's like an anime character,
Yeah,
dude.
he is. Some of those things I was just like, how the fuck is he doing? And then halfway, I was just like, this guy's fucking white chocolate. He must have had. He's
I was
one of
gonna
his
say Cookie. White guy can jump.
white men can jump. This like he has some black in his family somewhere. I don't know what it is.
He's British though. We don't know.
Is he British? Really?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that motherfucker can move. He goes on a little run.
British people can't jump.
Well, Palmer can.
No, we can.
All
I
right.
was gonna say, I
Anyway.
don't think I've seen him jump. He can run real fast.
fast.
He's fast, yeah. Anyway, Ospreay clears the ropes, double boots to the head, looks basically like a 619. He follows that with a jumping reverse STO, and then follows that with a running shooting star press. Beautiful sequence of moves. Doesn't finish the match. So this match, just to give you guys an idea, a lot of false finishes, but it keeps you entertained. And I do make a note about this. It does look highly choreographed, but it still draws you in. It's so cool to watch.
Mike and I watched Dominion on Monday. Some of Dominion, the New Japan thing, and there was a Will Ospreay match. It was the end of the Super Juniors.
Wait, can you mention that we turned off Raw to watch
Well,
a recording?
we minimized Raw to watch recorded Japanese.
Yeah, we're
wrestling.
like, hey man, this sucks. Let's go ahead and watch the Dominions.
Raw's getting boring.
So the Golden Lovers, they're a gay tag team, right?
So
That's
So what it
they're
reminds me
supposed to
of,
be.
all right, it is Japan. What I got from it was there's like that manga style that a lot of the girls like in Japan, where it's
yeah.
like really pretty boys and they're like
Yeah.
kind of like wrestling. They're like
Flowing hair,
Yeah, and they're like-
big eyes.
they're effeminate, and it's like kind of are they gay? Are they not?
and
You
that's
know?
exactly how this was.
Yeah, and that's what I got from it. And they did a lot of the movements. Kenny's really into Japanese culture and stuff like that. But it was a lot of, between all these like awesome spots, there's a lot of like of those kind of movements where they're posing together and like hugging each other.
Yeah.
But
Really
I guess
close.
it's why it's accepted in Japanese culture.
Well, it
or at least in the wrestling.
and it's
business.
almost. I hate to say it like this. It's a cliche, but it's a don't ask, don't tell sort of thing.
Yeah.
And these characters are obviously supposed to be lovers.
And for me, it's an outsider's perspective because I've never heard of the Golden Lovers, never seen the Golden Lovers, but they have some of the best tag team chemistry that I've ever seen. And I didn't really get, or really, I guess I could see like the closeness that they had. I could see how they could be perceived as being gay.
Right.
But for me, it was just the athleticism that I was paying attention to.
But this is our most recent match to date,
Yes.
and we can see the cultural shift
Yep.
from the Goldust, where these lovers is a back burner issue.
If I
Yes.
didn't mention it, you wouldn't even
I
have
wouldn't
known.
have known.
100%.
I really wouldn't have known. no.
If it didn't say Golden Lovers in the title, if it just said
I wouldn't have
Ibushi
known.
and Kenny Omega, you would have zero idea. Whereas Goldust is literally
Flicking his
teabagging,
tongue, yeah.
flicking his tongue, and sulturally touching himself.
Billy and Chuck, they dressed alike, looked alike, had the same blonde hair, and they were, they had that look that made people say like, oh, okay, they may be gay. But with Kenny Omega and Ibushi, it just looked like two athletes just going at it against two other phenomenal athletes. But to keep it going, guys, I want to know, did you guys see Ospreay use Omega as a fucking wall? Because he basically did like a backflip off of his chest. And
It was insane. Like
It
it was
was-
like parkour.
it was parkour in
people
the ring.
parkour.
I've never seen someone do that like from a standing position, basically to kick off and do a backflip off of someone. Obviously, it didn't work out for him. He gets dropped with a suplex. But it still looked good. So opponents are both outside the ring. The Golden Lovers, they go coast to coast, so they go from post to post basically, and do dual backflips outside of the ring. Fucking awesome.
How is it that funny?
Just keep going. Okay,
What?
sorry. Nothing.
What?
Tolbert.
Anyways,
Tolbert, do you have something to say?
Explain it off, Mike.
Okay.
Coast to coast and post to
All right,
post.
yeah,
that
but
Tolbert rolled.
coast to coast, post to post, clear the road, springboard moonsaults to their opponents on the outside. The next sequence is also there's so many sequences, but Kenny does basically a rolling fireman's carry. And before this, I knew this move was gonna be fucking sick because he says like, "You're not getting out of this," or whatever he says. He says it out loud. You're not gonna get out of this. Rolling fireman's carry into a running shooting star press again. Both of them do double middle rope moonsaults. Again, match is not over yet. Ospreay, once again, he is the truth. White men can jump, ladies and gentlemen. This man does a fucking handspring Pele kick, knocks both Omega and Ibushi outside of the ring, and then he does a handspring moonsault outside of the ring from inside of the ring. Again, phenomenal thing that I've never seen before. Like, before this match, I literally thought AJ Styles was the most phenomenal athlete that I've ever seen.
Even better than like a Ricochet. He's actually Puerto Rican.
Even
Ricochet.
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 For me, most of the rest.
Rico.
For me, just most of the wrestlers that I've deemed as athletic, they have one or two moves that are just phenomenal. Like, they'll have that 630 splash, whatever it's called, 450. No, 630 splashes, I think.
When
Like
they
do like an extra turn in it or whatever. But this guy was doing moves left and right that I was just like, oh my god! Like, I just never seen this stuff before. It just literally made me jump out of my seat. But I keep going. Let's see here. So not Kenny Omega and Kenny. I have one critique about this match, and that's that Ibushi and Kenny Omega were supposed to catch Ospreay, and they botched it a little bit. So I can tell that Ibushi definitely skipped the weight room on this one because he dropped them. He dropped at least one side of them. They pick it back up though, and they catch Ospreay out of the air. He's doing a crossbody, and they throw him basically over the top of their head and just throw him outside of the ring. Camera doesn't even pick up this next move. It was like a springboard 450 splash that ends with Ibushi pinning Kenny Omega. Again, false finish. Multiple high knees by Kenny Omega. Strong bull. That's what I call him. Strong bull goes for a German suplex that Kenny is supposed to land on his feet for. He botches it. Another botch. And Kenny basically lands on his head.
Can you call it a botch when like it's like such a high level move?
Would you say it's a high level move, a German suplex?
Well, sorry, I'm just talking like in general, like when they're doing like all this high flying shit, like
yeah,
I don't know.
They're moving at a faster pace.
Yeah,
like
when it's bang bang kind of stuff versus.
I would still consider it a botch because I mean, like, he was supposed to land on his feet and clearly was supposed to do like another running high knee, but he like. Maybe he's knocked unconscious because he's like he's on the ground for a little bit.
They hold their wrestling and what they do to such a high standard. I would call it.
I guess my thing is if you have one move and you fuck it up, that's a botch.
It's a botch.
Yes, exactly. So White Chocolate, Ospreay are going and Ibushi are going back and forth with their elbows, and then we finally see that running the wall maneuver is what I like to call it, where he basically uses his chest as a fucking platform, does his back flip, follows it up with an enziguri, and then somehow he counters a suplex that Kenny Omega is about to give him into a Stone Cold Stunner. Kenny's outside of the ring. And then Ospreay hits what I like to call trouble in the suburbs, because it's White Chocolate. Not trouble in paradise, but trouble in the suburbs. He does like an extra rotation in this the like 360 kick that he hits Kenny, I think it was Ibushi. No, sorry, not Ibushi. He hits, Ibushi with, and then Ibushi does. Sorry, yeah. It was a long pause. I was like, damn, what was the dude? There's so many spots in this match, guys, that I kind of lost track.
Just tell me a little bit about the ending. Like what?
That's exactly what I'm getting to right now. So Ibushi does one of the most strongest things I've ever seen before, which is a German suplex from the apron. Basically, where he's holding Ospreay basically up in the air, and he has to hold him at a certain height, and then he has to clear the ropes with that body weight on top of him. He clears it. It's a beautiful. Looks beautiful. They finish the match off, both Kenny Omega and Ibushi, with double knees. They put White Chocolate away, aka Ospreay, and the Golden Lovers. Holy fuck. They win the match. Sorry, guys. I know that was basically spot for spot. Not really, though, because there's literally so many spots.
Aaron has a wedding he has to get to.
I know.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
This still is not as long as Mike's last.
I know. What's the rating?
I got something new for you guys.
Okay.
This gets a Golden Cookie nomination. And now you're wondering what a Golden Cookie nomination is.
Are we going to have an award ceremony?
We are. And we already have one other match that's also in the Golden Cookie nomination. If you go back and watch the Masato Tanaka and Mike Awesome match, that's also going to be a Golden Cookie nomination.
Not the Vader and Masawa.
Vader Masawa is also going to be a cookie nomination. Thank you for reminding me about that. I lost track about all my matches.
I'm telling you, all the 5-star.
It's been 13, so.
So those two, and now this tag team match is also going to be up for a Golden Cookie nomination.
All right.
5 cookies for this match, obviously, and at the very end, we'll say of the year, I will choose who gets the Golden Cookie.
Okay.
And as of right
It's
now,
a nominee.
As of right now, this tag team match is a front runner.
Hey, Cookie, write those down so you remember them.
Shut up, Mike. Go on to Tolbert. I'm done talking to you guys.
I can break a door down with one hand behind my back. I can crush a grizzly till its bones begin to crack. I eat a dozen T-bones for my early morning snack. So imagine what I could do to you.
Tolbert, you are here and you are talking about Adrian Street. Adrian Street, an interesting character from the land of Great Britain. He is taking on Rip Rogers. Tell me a little bit about Adrian Street.
Rip
Yeah,
Rogers.
the hustler, Rip Rogers.
So, Southeastern Heavyweight Championship match. This is in 1986. So it was a while back ago.
The year of my birth.
Yeah, 85 actually. So I was a year old. It's barely a year old.
Y'all old.
I know.
Anyway,
Yeah, y'all
so
really are old.
Hustler Rip Rogers versus the exotic one, Adrian Street. So Rip Rogers is the first to make his way to the ring, coming out in his sleeveless robe, blonde hair, black beard. Interesting combo. I thought he kind of looked like he was trying to hustle as Ric Flair, like he's outside of a bar. Here, I'm Ric Flair. Anyway.
Can I say I didn't watch this match with the volume on at first, and I was like, I wonder, is this the guy?
You need to watch the match. Anyway.
Well, the first guy I thought was the guy.
Well,
I was
that's
like,
what
yeah.
I was
Rip
like, is this the guy that's exotic and all this sort of
Yeah,
stuff?
I was like, he doesn't really look like it. Now I
this
saw the next guy, and I was like,
robe and
oh shit.
Anyway, so Rip is making his way to the ring with his valet, Miss Brenda Britton, and she comes into play a little bit later.
Is she the one with the
No.
hanging out?
No,
that's-
all right. So she
Oh my
is
God.
dressed in. She's got suspenders, the black pants. She looks kind of like a caterer.
Oh, yeah.
She
Baron Corbin?
She does. He gets a lot of boos. People aren't really feeling him, man. And this is I don't know where this was, but this is a Southeastern Heavyweight Champion, so that tells you, this Southeastern Territory, Deep South, 86. The music hits and Adrian Street comes out, everyone goes fucking nuts. Everyone's going crazy. People are dancing, doing his little. He does this little. Well, first of all, the music, which
Talk
he
to us
is,
about the
which
music.
he has written himself. And I was actually singing it to the boys here just a little bit ago.
Sing a couple bars to us.
He wrote it himself. The music is kind of like a glam rock UK kind of thing. And the first line goes, "I can tear down." I can tear down a door with one hand behind my back. I can crush a grizzly till its bones begin to crack. I can eat a dozen T-bones for an early morning snack.
That sounds like you. He's describing you, Tolbert.
So imagine what I could do to you.
So I just looked it up. Continental Wrestling. And this is going to blow your mind,
Where
right?
is this at?
It is from Knoxville, Tennessee and
Lord,
Alabama.
All right. So,
Wow.
1986 in Knoxville, Tennessee, you have a character coming out that looks like a mix of Kiss, David Bowie, and like Jim and the Rockettes, or whatever the cartoon was.
Yeah, Jim and the holograms.
Holograms. Yeah, holograms. Anyway, he is wearing all leather and chains. It's some leather shoulder pads with like a high neck kind of thing, all studded, gauntlets in like a cummerbund type thing, and all these accessories are connected by chains, right? And he comes out doing this
Straight
little
line.
kind of winged little prance thing all the way to the ring, singing his song. But the crowd is eating it up. And he is also holding the belt. He is the champion. And, you know, he's the production champion. You know, he's the company champ. And people love him. And they're booing the other guy. They're giving him, like, fingers and, like, telling him to go to hell. So that, to be in the South, man, is it was mind-blowing.
Isn't he rocking like a ponytail or like pigtails?
No, he's got
or something?
pigtails. He's got
Pigtails.
pigtails. In addition to the face paint and jewels, he's got pigtails and the little like headband you put in with things sticking up. But the back of his hair is like a mullet and it's feathered and crimped.
Well, to me, it's so weird because like, so they're cheering this guy, right?
Yeah,
it's,
they
it's
love
in the
him.
It's deep south. They're cheering this guy. But if they saw that guy at the grocery store, you know, they'd be mumbling under their breath and just kind of like saying all this sort of stuff.
Oh, they'd be avoiding him at all costs.
And that's where wrestling is. It's like kind of that. I don't know. It's not counterculture. I don't know what the word is, but it's crazy that it kind of creates that fringe. You're cheering for the guy that you would normally cheer for.
Yeah.
That
But
you would
anyway.
pray for at church
Yeah,
the next day.
exactly.
Yeah. So they get into it. Rip isn't he? So Adrian Street enters the ring. He's prancing, posing. He has his little mirror he pulls out. He's looking at himself. He has a valet, Miss Linda. She is in a one-piece studded leather, with fishnets, looking pretty punk rock herself. He's prancing around, looking at himself in the mirror. The whole time, Rogers is like, nah, man, I ain't doing this, man. I ain't wrestling this guy. And at one point, he leaves the ring, picks up the announcer's mic, and just yells, Queen! Queen! And the
He must
crowd
really
just,
like Freddie Mercury.
the crowd just boos him. They're like, boo! And so I guess they started this chant that Britton, his valet, is a flea bag. I don't know where that came from. Apparently, she's a flea bag.
So, looking at the way that Adrian Street was accepted in professional wrestling as opposed to Goldust, maybe it's all in the presentation.
That's what, and he's British, right? And it's at the height of like glam rock, like you said. So he comes out to this, and the song he comes out to is really, he's got an awesome, catchy, kind of like rock and roll riff. And he's talking about like, I'm gonna beat your ass, and that's another thing about Adrian Street. He looks like this, flamboyant, whatever, but he gets in the ring and he beats your ass. And you start to see that real quick after they finally get the match on. I have to mention, he's wearing all this stuff. You're like, this is going to take forever pulling all that stuff off, right?
Yeah.
Miss Linda walks up to him. She snaps off the gauntlet, snaps a couple things. The whole thing comes off in one piece.
Actually, I was very impressed by that
I
as
was
well.
like, whoa. It all comes off in one piece.
It looked great.
It's awesome. So they started into locking up. A couple Irish whips. He throws Roy to the corner face first, and or Rip, not Roy. Rip Rogers goes into the corner face first. So there's Roy Rogers.
Roy Rogers.
Yeah, I didn't make a bunch
The
of
singing
those
cowboy.
Yeah. Anyway, and he does this exaggerated thing where he kind of sticks his butt out, and Adrian Street does this gooch grab. Right?
Oh, yeah, he does,
this like gooch grab, grabs his undercarriage. The hustler, rips around. He's like, "What the hell?" And he goes in for the kiss. And that makes him, run scared, jump out of the ring. Start the count out. Gets back to the ring. More intense action. Very short match, but when they lock up, there's some heavy punches, heavy knees, a lot of Irish whips. There's another point where he whips him into the corner again, does another gooch grab. So the exotic one, Adrian, is on the offense. He's kicking his ass. He's getting some moves in. And you have a couple interferences from Brenda Britton. At one point, he's up against the rope. She grabs his legs, allowing the hustler to get in a little bit of offense, but he turns around and actually picks her up by her hair and drags her up to the top rope by her hair and drops her. This allows the hustler to get in some offense. While that's happening, they kind of tease a foreign object at one point where she slips it to him, but the ref is looking and he slips it back. There's even a ref bump where he open mouth kisses the ref at one point as well.
ref took a bump.
During this exchange, during this back and forth here, with there's two valets and this flamboyant character, so there's a lot of distractions in this match. But at one point, Adrian Street just straight up grabs a ref and mouth kisses him. It's hilarious.
It's a ring psychology.
Eventually, the foreign object comes into play, where he punches the Hustler punches the Exotic One, takes him down, gets the pin, 1, 2, 3. But his valet, in the confusion, Miss Linda, the Exotic One's valet, grabs the foreign object out of his hands, jumps back into the ring, and slips it back into the back of his trunks. Right. Yep. The ref sees it, pulls it out of his trunks, DQ'd, right? Rings the bell, DQ. The Exotic One remains champ. In the chaos, his valet, Miss Linda, is in the ring. Gets distracted by old Fleabag, Miss Brenda. Takes a huge clothesline from the Hustler. Knocks her out cold, right? At this time, the Exotic One, he's laid out from the foreign object blow. Yeah. The Hustler grabs the belt and runs off. Steals the belt. Yep. Exotic One is still champ, but Hustler runs off with that belt, man. It's a pink belt, by the way. Bright pink championship belt. It's beautiful.
I thought it was her belt at first.
So then we go into the promos right after the match, and what wonderful promos they were. The Hustler goes in and just jibber-jabbering how he's the best, how he's going to be a long-time running champion. And he goes, "How's your neck, Linda? How's your neck?" And he goes, "I love it." And then walks out, shoots straight back to the ring. I made a note about this announcer. This announcer, man, he repeated everybody's name twice. He would announce them, like, "Yo, the Hustler, Rip Rogers. Rip Rogers." He would, repeat it. So they're in the ring. The Exotic One has come to his valet's aid. She's rocking back and forth on the ground. He comes up and he's just like, "So, how is Linda?" Hands the mic. "Not good." Not good. And he goes in on the promo. And it's great. He just talks about how no matter who has the belt, he doesn't need the belt to be champion. He's going to kick everyone's ass regardless, right? Great match. I can see how Goldust's character was drawn from Adrian Street, especially in some of the other pictures. You showed me a picture where he's standing in a coal mine.
Right. In front of a coal mine with a gold robe, the gold
he looks
hair.
a lot like Goldust. So I can see that's where maybe the powers that be, pulled that character from. And I'm sure Dusty knew about it too and watched all the old school stuff and played off of some of his moves because he does a lot of the kissing, the stroking, grabbing,
the strutting.
Yeah, and it's awesome. But it was just so interesting to see how a Deep South crowd was just into that, and he's their champion, and they love. I mean, the crowd goes wild over him. There's little kids doing the little flamboyant dance, and if you look off into the left hand of the screen, the top left hand corner, when he's coming out, there's this kid, and he's strutting back and forth up and down the aisles to the music. It's hilarious.
I did not catch that.
Do you remember the Simpsons episode where they get a hold of the wigs and they're like Bart's dancing? I think John Waters is the guest star on that episode, but
Aaron,
I just think of
Aaron,
that.
When the question is, do you remember the Simpsons episode?
I only talk to Tolbert.
No.
Yeah, because I get most of his references.
No, thank you.
Anyway, so
I wanted to give you guys a couple quick little facts about Adrian Street. So he created the ring gear worn by Mick Foley as Dude Love.
Really?
Whoa.
He did Dude Love's all of the ring gear. They had a business.
Created in the sense of made it?
Handmade all the ring gear for Mick Foley. I thought that's pretty cool, man. He did the Dude Love stuff and all of that. He
seems like an awesome guy, and it was just he seems like he just wants to rock and roll, fuck shit up, and wrestle. You know what I mean? He's really punk rock, man.
He was in a couple movies in the 80s, and just there's going to be upcoming. There is a documentary coming out soon called The Life and Times of Adrian Street. I'm really interested in it. I showed Tolbert and kind of what the trailer looks like, and I think it's going to be pretty interesting.
Looks awesome. Looks
Tolbert,
good.
To wrap things up, tell me your haiku for Adrian Street.
Yeah, it took me a little while to write this one, but I banged it out. Yeah. All right, here we go. Leather straps and chains,
gorgeous, but he ain't no queen. That no good hustler.
There you go, folks. That is this week's episode of $2 Steak, a pro wrestling podcast. Next week, we are going to be... not only are we going to be doing the shit show that will be Tolbert's bachelor party, we are going to be
live from Asheville.
Wow, from Asheville.
So keep an eye out for when we talk about the Terry Funk Onita match. We will also be having of course, a regular old episode next Saturday, and we're going to be talking, as suggested by Travis Thornton, childhood favorites.
Oh, yeah. Can't wait.
So we're going to be talking about my
Sting.
childhood favorites. For Big Mike, you have got Razor Ramon against the 1-2-3 Kid, one of the very first professional wrestling matches and feuds that I loved as a kid. For the strong style match, we have got Sting versus the Great Muta in Japan for Cookie. And then finally, Tolbert has been asking me and wanting to get one of these matches. Tolbert is going to have a Stone Cold Steve Austin match against Shane and Vince McMahon. He's
Smash
so...
him right now.
Wait. No.
On his couch.
In the apartment.
No, I just cleaned up my house. No.
Hey, what's Shane McMahon doing nowadays?
He's being the best in the world.
The best in the world.
Thank you for listening to $2 Steak, and we will hear from you next week. Keep watching wrestling.
Follow
Get
us
in the
on Twitter.
car, losers. We're going dying.